What if the secret to safely expanding your consciousness into the clouds was actually, tying yourself to a rock pulled straight from the dirt of southern Africa?
It sounds like a total paradox, right?
It really does. But today we are looking at an incredibly unique energetic tool that does exactly that. So welcome to today's deep dive. We are exploring a really comprehensive guide sourced from Crystals by Rob, and we are focusing entirely on the metaphysical healing properties of Apricot Botswana Agate.
Yeah, it's such a specific and honestly fascinating topic.
Totally. And our mission today is to explore how this deeply rare, visually mesmerizing stone serves as a powerful stone of change. We want to uncover how you, listening right now, can use this specific crystal as an ally to navigate life's complex transitions with a lot more grace and hopefully a lot less burnout.
It is a really remarkable subject for us to tackle today.
Yeah.
And if you look at the backdrop behind me, we have pulled up this macro, high-definition view of the stone itself.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is stunning.
Right. You can see these swirling, creamy apricot and soft pink agate bands. The way the light catches those incredibly fine white and gray lines intersecting the gentle orange. I mean, it slowly shifts. It's almost like a desert sunset caught in slow motion.
It really does look like a sunset.
Yeah. But we are looking at this not just as a fascinating mineral specimen.
Mm-hmm.
We are looking at a deeply nurturing, energetic ally where its physical form actually acts as a direct, literal blueprint for its energetic function.
Okay, let's unpack this blueprint, because the physical characteristics of this stone are, well, they're incredibly specific. It's a rare variety of banded chalcedony. Right?
Exactly, yeah. And it's found exclusively in the Botswana region of Africa.
Right. And looking at those delicate concentric layers in the high-definition image, I am instantly reminded of, the rings of a tree.
Oh, that's a really great analogy.
Thanks, yeah. You know how every ring on an ancient tree represents a distinct phase of growth? You can look at a cross-section and see where the tree survived a harsh winter, or where it had a sudden growth spurt, or, where it overcame a drought.
Exactly. It records its own history.
Right. So how does that physical layered structure in the chalcedony actually translate into a metaphysical ability to help a human soul transition through its own difficult periods?
Well, what's fascinating here is that the geological layering process over millennia is exactly what gives the stone its metaphysical shielding mechanism.
Shielding mechanism.
Yeah. Energetically, those bands act as a multi-tiered protective barrier. Usually when you encounter negative energy, let's say you walk into a highly hostile work environment, or you have a really emotionally draining conversation with a relative in Utah, your personal energetic field tends to act a lot like a sponge.
Oh, I definitely feel that. You just soak it all up.
Right. You absorb the jagged, abrasive frequency of that interaction, and you just carry it with you. But the layered structure of Apricot Botswana Agate operates entirely differently.
So it's not a sponge. It is doing something else with that incoming frequency.
Precisely. It acts as a filtering mirror.
A mirror. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, it does not absorb the negativity into its core, and by extension, it doesn't let that negativity into your core. It catches that harsh external energy, reflects it away from your personal aura, and essentially grounds it back down into the earth.
Wow, so it just deflects it entirely.
Exactly. And then the earth naturally neutralizes that jagged energy. Because of those protective layers, you remain shielded within your own energetic boundary, entirely unburdened by the ambient trauma of your environment.
I mean, it makes complete sense that a layered mirror deflects external toxicity from, say, a bad boss or a chaotic commute. But what happens when the call is coming from inside the house?
Oh, right. Internal toxicity.
Yeah, exactly. When the toxicity isn't an external force, but our own internal chaos. The source material refers to the stone as an anchor during grief, depression, and exhaustion.
It does, yes. It's very clear on that.
And it specifically notes its ability to smooth out energetic static caused by stress, dissolve obsessive thoughts, and soothe the nervous system. And I really, really resonate with that phrase, energetic static.
It's a very evocative way to put it.
It perfectly captures that modern feeling of having 50 browser tabs open in your brain while a siren is going off in the background and you just cannot seem to close any of them.
That is the perfect description. That static is essentially a state of constant, low-grade neurological and spiritual alarm. Your aura is vibrating erratically because your nervous system perceives your environment as a continuous threat.
You're just stuck in this hyper-vigilant loop all day. But, I hear that it creates an emotional boundary, but mechanically, practically, If someone is sitting at their desk, highly sensitive to everything around them, and they're in the middle of a spiraling panic attack or just overwhelming grief.
Right, a real visceral reaction.
Yeah, a beautiful peachy rock on their desk isn't going to magically stop their heart from racing. So what is the actual real-time mechanism shifting someone out of that spiral?
Well, it is a profound shift in resonant frequency that creates a psychological and energetic anchor. When you are caught in that spiraling static, your brain's default survival mechanism is to relentlessly identify problems.
Right, you're just constantly scanning for danger.
Exactly. The Apricot Botswana Agate, however, emits a very specific, steady, warm vibrational frequency. When you introduce that steady frequency into a chaotic energetic field, it acts as a pattern interrupt.
A pattern interrupt, I like that.
Yeah. The warm, sunset-hued vibration interacts with your aura to signal safety.
So it's essentially whispering to your nervous system that the immediate threat has passed.
Yes, that's a beautiful way to phrase it. And when the parasympathetic nervous system registers safety, the brain's focus is forced to naturally shift. It stops dwelling obsessively on the perceived threat or the grief, and it begins to gently open up to solutions.
Okay, so it's not a magic wand.
No, not at all. The stone does not erase the trauma or instantly cure the stress. Instead, it fosters emotional maturity. It transitions your mindset from a state of paralyzed victimhood into a state of hope and resilience. You stop unconsciously reacting to the static, and you regain the capacity to consciously respond to your environment.
You're basically lowering the volume of the static just enough for your actual, rational, mature self to step up to the microphone and take control.
Precisely.
And once that internal static is cleared, it appears we are primed for something much deeper in the text. The source material dives into this concept of spiritual maturation and explicitly links the Apricot Botswana Agate to the heart chakra, the anahata, which governs love and compassion.
Yes, the heart center is key here.
Right, and the material suggests that by healing emotional wounds and fostering self-love, this stone prepares you to explore the unknown, even connecting to guardian angels and spirit guides without losing touch with reality.
Well, the heart chakra is the crucial bridge between our lower physical survival chakras and our upper spiritual chakras. If the heart space is blocked by unhealed emotional wounds or, by the fear of vulnerability, your spiritual growth completely stagnates.
Because you're just closed off.
Exactly. You cannot access higher wisdom if you are terrified of opening up. This stone's deeply nurturing energy dissolves those fears. It cultivates an internal environment where you feel genuinely safe enough to give and receive unconditional love.
And that profound sense of emotional safety is basically the absolute prerequisite for any higher spiritual connection.
It is the foundation, yes.
But, here's where it gets really interesting, though. When I look closely at the deeper astrological and elemental associations provided in the guide, there is a fascinating contradiction.
Oh, you noticed that too?
I did. The material emphasizes over and over how profoundly comforting, soothing, and emotionally grounding this agate is. It anchors you to the earth to neutralize negativity.
Right.
And yet, its astrological signs are Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. Its core element is air. It is heavily associated with sylphs and zephyrs, which are literal fairies of the winds.
Yeah, it seems completely counterintuitive at first glance.
Totally.
Yeah.
How can something so fundamentally focused on deep, earthy, emotional grounding be intrinsically tied to the airy, expansive, intellectual element of wind?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it is not a contradiction at all. It is actually a necessary synergy. Think about the mechanics of flying a kite.
Okay, a kite.
Yeah. If a kite is not firmly if there's not a heavy stabilizing anchor holding the string tightly to the earth, that kite does not fly beautifully into the upper atmosphere.
Yeah, and it just blows away.
Right. It eventually crashes into the dirt or gets blown away chaotically into the ether, completely out of control.
Oh, wow. Wait, so the stone is the person holding the string.
Exactly. Spiritual blooming operates on the exact same mechanical principle. The air element represents the mind, the intellect, the spirit, and the rapid expansion of human consciousness into the vast unknown.
But you need the ground to hold it steady.
Yes. True spiritual maturation requires a profoundly grounded heart. If you try to expand your consciousness without emotional stability, you risk dissociating or losing your grip on reality. The Apricot Botswana Agate provides that grounded, unshakable emotional base so that your mind and spirit, the air element, can safely and confidently ride the winds of higher wisdom.
You need the heavy anchor to safely sail the ship. That completely reframes the way I look at grounding stones. They aren't holding you down, they're allowing you to safely go up.
That's exactly it.
But let's bring this down from the ethereal winds in the upper atmosphere to like a random Tuesday afternoon at the office.
The real world.
Yeah, the real world. Spiritual expansion is a beautiful concept, but you listening right now, you need to know how to apply this knowledge when you are just trying to survive the work week.
Very true.
If this stone acts as a steadying anchor for our internal environment, how does that translate to the highly practical applications mentioned in the text? For instance, it brings up workplace harmony, suggesting you place a specimen on your desk to navigate office politics.
Yes, that's a very common use case.
But I have to ask, is it just acting as a pretty visual reminder to take a deep breath before you reply all to an angry email? Or is it actively shifting the dynamic of the room?
It is actively shifting the dynamic of the space itself, though. I mean, the visual psychological reminder is certainly a powerful secondary benefit.
So it's doing both.
Yes. Think of it like this. Every physical environment has a baseline vibrational frequency. A tense office, thick with unsaid politics, looming deadlines, and interpersonal competition, generates a very abrasive, jagged, energetic frequency in the air.
Oh, we've all walked into a room and felt that. It's heavy.
Right. You can cut the tension with a knife. When you place a piece of Apricot Botswana Agate in that space, it begins to continuously emit its steady, layered, nurturing vibration. It acts like an acoustic dampener in a room with a terrible echo.
Wait, I love that. So it is modulating the abrasive frequencies in the room, smoothing out the sharp edges of everyone's interactions.
Precisely. It subtly smooths out those harsh energies, naturally encouraging a more cooperative, solution-oriented atmosphere. It does not mind control your passive-aggressive coworkers, unfortunately.
That would be nice, though.
It would. But it does alter the energetic environment so that cooperation simply feels more natural and requires less effort than conflict.
Now, if it acts as an acoustic dampener for external office chaos, I imagine that same dampening effect has incredibly practical uses for our internal chaos, specifically when that internal static is driving a bad habit.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the text mentions carrying the stone helps bolster willpower, specifically calling out quitting habits like smoking. How does an energetic dampener actually increase someone's willpower?
Well, willpower is a finite daily energetic resource. If your internal system is constantly fighting off the jagged static of anxiety, stress, or the emotional trigger that makes you want to smoke, you are draining your energetic battery.
You're just exhausted.
Exactly. By the end of the day, you have zero willpower left. The Apricot Botswana Agate steps in to handle that energetic static for you. It smooths out the chaotic triggers, which essentially plugs the energetic leaks in your aura.
So you're not wasting all that energy just trying to cope.
Right. When you aren't expending all your internal resources just trying to stay calm, you suddenly have a massive, steady reservoir of willpower left over to actually break the physical habit.
It is an energy conservation tool. You are basically outsourcing the heavy lifting of emotional regulation to the stone, which frees up your brain to make better choices.
Exactly. It does the energetic background work for you.
And what about the application for artists? There's a specific mention in the guide about keeping the stone in a creative workspace to help layer ideas and complete projects.
Ah, yes. That ties directly back to the geological formation of the stone we talked about earlier.
The banding.
Right. Creative burnout usually occurs when an artist tries to force a massive project into existence all at once, becoming overwhelmed by the chaotic energy of the creative process.
Staring at the blank canvas and just panicking.
Yes. The specific steady frequency of this agate encourages the mind to work methodically. It subtly influences the artist to build their work layer by layer, patiently bringing the project to completion without burning out halfway through.
Layer by layer. That actually leads us perfectly into the final piece of the puzzle here, the wider web of the stone symbology.
Yes, the associations are incredibly deep.
Because to truly master the use of Apricot Botswana Agate, you have to look at the deeply intricate associations tied to its specific frequency. The source text links it to Archangel Raphael, the ultimate healer.
Which makes sense given its properties.
Right. It connects to the planet Venus and the goddess Aphrodite, which perfectly aligns with everything we've discussed about the Anahata and healing the heart space. It even mentions a dual use for sacral chakra balancing, which makes absolute sense given those warm, creamy apricot and gentle orange hues.
It definitely activates the sacral center as well.
But then we hit the animal associations.
The animal totems are where the underlying philosophy of this stone really reveals itself.
Right, and the text lists the eagle and the raven. I completely understand those. Those are majestic birds. They tie perfectly into the expansive air element and the intellect we explored earlier with the whole kite analogy.
They do, yes.
But then it lists the spider.
Yes, the spider.
So what does this all mean? Eagle and raven makes sense, but why the spider? That feels totally out of left field for a comforting, peachy, heart-healing crystal. I mean, most people associate spiders with fear or venom, not emotional restoration.
This raises an important question about how we perceive animal totems and nature's wisdom in metaphysical practices.
How so?
Well, we often view the spider through a very human lens of fear or annoyance. But spiritually and metaphysically, the spider is revered as the ultimate master weaver.
The weaver. Because it constructs the web.
Yes, but I want you to think about how a spider builds that web. It is not an instant process. It requires immense, quiet patience, flawless precision, and absolute trust in the structural integrity of its work.
It takes its time.
It does. The spider constructs its reality thread by thread, layer by delicate layer. Now look back at the macro image of the Apricot Botswana Agate. The stone itself is intricately banded, built layer upon layer over thousands of years.
Oh, wow.
The spider represents the quiet strength and patience required for the artist to slowly layer their ideas into a completed masterpiece, just like the stone.
Oh, I see where this is going. It is about the patience of the healing process itself.
Exactly. And more importantly, the spider represents the patience required for the human soul to carefully weave its way through major life changes. Healing a broken heart, navigating a deep depression, or transitioning through a terrifying period of the unknown, none of that is an instant fix.
No, it really isn't.
The soul must be woven back together layer by layer, experience by experience, with grace. The spider isn't scary here at all. It is the ultimate architect of profound change.
That reframes the entire concept of the stone for me. It perfectly encapsulates why this is explicitly called a stone of change. It does not rush the healing process. It does not promise to magically fix your grief overnight.
No,
It supports the weaving. It gives you the steady, anchored energy to patiently rebuild your life, one layer at a time.
It is the perfect embodiment of quiet strength. It teaches us that emotional restoration is a cumulative process, and it provides the warm, unwavering energy required to see that process all the way through to its beautiful completion.
Well, looking back at our journey today, we started by examining a visually stunning, incredibly rare piece of African chalcedony. And by unpacking its layers, we have uncovered a master tool for clearing that exhausting, daily, energetic static.
It's been a really deep journey today.
It has. We found a beautiful, heavy anchor for safely aligning the heart chakra, and a deeply practical ally for breaking our bad habits, protecting our creative energy, and navigating the chaotic acoustics of the modern office.
It truly is a remarkable, multifaceted crystal. Whether you are actively seeking a clear, grounded channel for receiving higher wisdom in meditation, or, you simply need a gentle, reliable reminder to stay emotionally centered during an overwhelmingly busy day, its applications are vast and incredibly forgiving.
And for you listening, whether you choose to wear this as a pendant to keep it resting continuously close to your anahata, your heart chakra, or you decide to just place a polished stone on your desk as a quiet dampener to survive the weekly staff meeting, Apricot Botswana Agate is ready to be your personal architect for change.
And remember that its fundamental energy is there to remind you of your intrinsic worth. It clears the jagged blockages so you can embrace vulnerability, trust in the slow process of your relationships, and really reconnect with your own inner light.
Before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a thought rooted deeply in the materials concept of spiritual maturation. We talked at the very beginning about that heavy backpack of emotional exhaustion and the static of navigating daily stress.
The browser tabs.
Right, the 50 browser tabs. If the slow, layered formation of the Apricot Botswana Agate teaches us that change is not something to be feared, but rather a necessary methodical process of blooming into our highest potential, what current difficulty or what intense static in your life right now might actually just be the necessary friction of your own blooming.